For those of you who don't know, Ayano Ninomiya is one of the leading performers on stage today. She is a soloist, a chamber musician, and a recitalist. She graduated from Harvard and went on to study at Juilliard and won top prizes at Tibor, Varga and the Naumburg international violin competitions, and now teaches at New England Conservatory. So let's just get started. We have two performers today, Alex and Skye. And I'm just gonna have them introduce their pieces and play for a bit and let Ayano take it on from there.
Great. And Alex is going first. Am I gonna be able to see them? Oh, okay, great. I was just wondering where why everybody's video is off. Is that normal? Is that what you've
yeah.
been having? Okay, so. that's fine. Great, Alex. Oh, and you don't have piano. That makes sense. Where are you?
So I am on campus as well. I live
you are.
Me and Han are actually roommates, so yeah.
You're in Lowell, did you say?
Yeah, we are in Lowell House.
Oh, great.
So I introduced myself in the piece. Okay. So I am Alex Zhou, and I'm going to be playing Waltz Scherzo, Opus 34 by Tchaikovsky.
Alex, can you give me a second? I'm just pulling up this score. I just didn't have my screens in the right place. Okay. Bravo. That was great, Alex.
Thank you.
How did it feel to you?
A little bit shabby, but it's over. So yeah. I just didn't really feel like I had like complete control over my body. Like I feel like I could have been more warmed up.
Oh,
But
good. I'm actually glad you mentioned that because there was interest in a little bit of talking about Aikido, but I thought I would share some warm-ups later. Some warm-ups when you're short on time that I like to do. So
good.
that could segue perfectly into the next section. Good. What have you played this with piano?
I have
Yet?
not.
Okay. I didn't expect that you would have, but just I wanted to ask that. And then, what kinds of things are you thinking about as you're working on this?
While I'm working on this, I do think of like the technical side, but I mostly think of like keeping sort of an even pulse and really keeping like that dance, like waltz rhythm going throughout the piece. And
Yes.
it really speeds up and gets going.
Good. Great. So that is perfect as a jumping off point. If I were to ask you to say the beats out loud in the way that you want to, in the tempo and sort of in the character at the beginning, what would it sound like? If you were actually to say 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Like just the beats.
Yeah. Yeah, not to play, but just say 1, 2, 3. You know, the way that you were feeling the beats.
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Okay, good. So what I'm looking for actually in this is, yes, definitely it's 1, 2, 3, right? The 2 and 3 are much lighter than the 1 in a waltz. At the same time, there is a sense of 1, 2, 3. When you actually have an impetus on 1, there is such a release as well in the way that you say it, in the way that you can feel the beat. 1, 2, 3. 1 is really down. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Would you say the words again and try to make it and feel it in your voice, the release of 1.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Do you feel how there's a gravity down into 1, but then there's a bounce there, right? And that bounce creates that release, which becomes 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If I were to sing in my head your part, yo, tom, pa da 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 ba 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 bum, pa da da, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It would sound like that. Would you try a little bit of this sort of musical characterized singing now with 1, 2, 3? Saying 1, 2, 3 again, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
1 da 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 da. Yeah, and then right in that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th bar, there's something that happens. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you keep going. There's a little turn in the phrase, right? Good, very good. So, I guess that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about. The releases in your sound. So we just talked about the releases in the beats, and that translates into the release of the sound. Am I supposed to have this on, I think? Well, you'll get the idea. it's actually less about the playing the accent as a down motion, but more about the release into the rest of the beats off of it. Can you try that once? Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. How did that feel to you?
It honestly felt easier, like focusing on the downbeat instead of like counting every single like 1, 2, 3 beat.
Oh,
Yeah, it felt
good.
like more flowy to me, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. So the end of each, the release of every note propels you into the next one in a very natural way. Okay, good. So that was much better. So, sorry, it's been a while since I played this. Can you make sure those so most of those A's are not on a main beat, right? And actually you can just play a 2-bar and then go back to first beat. Try that from the beginning again. Nice. Beautiful. Very good. Very, very beautiful. Does that so I guess what I'm really wanting you to feel more of is the main beats having more bounce. So you get to hear there you have this you're sort of in the air and then you come back down ta ba dum ba da 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 ta ti da ba 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 pom ba da. Good. In terms of your left hand fingers, Alex, when you go, it's an open string, so naturally you'll be releasing with both of your hands. But this one, make sure that your finger releases towards the end of the note, so, sort of mimicking the sound itself. If you keep your sound there, is much more likely to have that, but the vibrato continues, but there's a release in that first finger. Can you try just that note once? Curious. Uh-huh. Did you feel?
Sorry.
Say that again?
I'm sorry, I just can't really vibrate my first finger that well with the thing.
Oh, just in general.
Yeah.
You were vibrating it very well just now.
Just now, that was good.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. How did you feel about? Did you feel that finger in the string, quite in the string for the ta, but then you release? It's not off of the string, but it's quite released to prepare for. Can you try that?
Sorry, can you repeat like what you mean by release in the left?
Yes. So you can still have the string length stopped to create a different pitch with that first finger, without having your finger all the way down into the fingerboard. You can get the same effect. In my mind, I am about 50% down into the string with my first finger. During this note, I start quite into the string, but then I lift the finger a little bit so that it's not sitting on top of the string to make a harmonic necessarily, but it's in that direction.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense.
Ah, yeah, yeah. Good. And try to coordinate the two hands. So just as I release and I hear that release in the sound, my first finger is also releasing. Try that again. Yeah, 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 yeah. So actually you can find places where your fingers can be much lighter between the notes, which allows for more flexibility. Okay, so going from the 1 to the 2. Try that now. Yeah. Did you feel how the release of the one actually helped get into the second finger? So it's very very tiny in the screen, and I have to trust that you're feeling what I'm talking about. It's hard to tell exactly, but do you feel that difference?
Mhm.
Good. And then as you go up here too, can you feel that release of the 2 so that the 3 can come down? So you actually feel that a little bit between every single one of the notes, that releasing feel. Good. Try it once legato. So there's a release between. Good. Yeah. Try rhythms. Good. And so those first fingers are releasing to allow for the second finger on those, right? And the opposite. Good. And let's do the opposite rhythm. Ta-da, yada.
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear you right now. I'm not sure if that's just me.
No, it's not just you. I also can't hear.
What to do?
There, okay, I think that's fine. For some reason, it was just I couldn't hear, but I think it's fine now. Oh no, it just
Is that a little better? I went to my other.
um. Alex, how do you hear?
It's like cutting in and out.
This has not happened to me before. I wonder what it is exactly. Um, not, is it my? I don't have a microphone or anything.
Oh wait, I think
it's
that's
the,
good.
it's the computer. Okay,
Yeah, I
that's
think
good.
after the computer was moved, I don't know if it's that, but it's
Okay,
great now. I can hear.
it's good,
Alex, can you
Alex.
hear her?
Okay.
Great.
I have no idea what I was saying. Oh, let's just put it together, legato. Good. So when you put it together, there's a slight popping sensation. Do you feel that between the notes that your
Oh,
fingers are sort of popping in?
like popping off the string. after the note, you mean?
Because there's a release in between, so they're popping down into the string, but then back up. So the second finger comes down, sort of in a just the weight of the finger, and then it pops, and then the third finger comes down and it pops to allow for the shift, and then the first finger is down for a second, and then pops up for the second. So you can't actually hear the pop. You can't actually see it, but if I were to put it into sound, that's what it would sound like my left hand was doing. Okay, you want to try that once more and see if you can get that?
Yeah.
Yes. So much more time felt with the release rather than putting the fingers down. Okay. All right. So I didn't realize it would be a little bit harder to work on that than normal over Zoom. It's really tricky because it's hard for me to see. Let's try once more. With that feeling in the left hand. Fantastic. Really good. And so as you go, as you work, these G's have different functions, right? One is on the first beat, one is on the third beat. Can you try that once with and lighten the bow on the third beats? Great. And how did your fingers feel here? Did you release the first finger? Right at the end before you did the string crossing? Try that once more. Nice. Good. Okay, and then let's zoom out for a second here. We've been sort of working on how it actually feels technically to play this. If I were to say where your focus of your sound is, in your awareness, is it here? What would you say it is?
Like while I'm playing my awareness.
Yeah, when you're listening to your releases.
Probably in the right hand, and just thinking of like how the right hand is controlling the sound.
Mm-hmm. And if you were to sort of draw with your hand, where's the reach of your sound? Is it here? Is it around here? Is it focused around here with your right hand? Is it out into the room?
Could you clarify like the reach?
Yeah. So when we're pulling the bow on the string, we're actually creating waves, right? Sound waves. And so in our perception of what's happening, we could be focused right to the sound right here. So the production, intellectually that it's going out, but your awareness is right here. It's a little bit like looking at the screen at all of you right now. It's such a short distance, and so that's where my awareness is right now. I'm not seeing really any other parts of the room when I'm focusing on you. But then if I go out a little bit and I look out the window, which is across from me, I can see much farther, and that changes my awareness of my sort of my peripheral awareness. So I was wondering if you felt that the releases of the sound were going out a much larger distance. How would that change how you're feeling about the sound?
That makes sense. I would probably say, like, with myself, like, consciously releasing each finger, it seemed to naturally resonate and project a lot more than without it.
Good. Would you try once more? So now that we've worked on this release idea, you use a sound cloud, where does that cloud reach? Are you reach it all the way over there into the corners? Try that once.
Sorry.
Excellent. How was that for you?
I thought it was a lot better than the first time. I thought it flowed a lot better and had like a more natural downbeat and rhythm.
Helped by the sensing of the release of the sound.
Mm-hmm.
Great, fantastic. Because you play this so well. I'm really sort of, these are the finishing touches of what you're doing. Okay, it's just gonna really fly when you allow this to happen. Right here, make sure your fingers are also releasing here and your sound. Try that. Just the note. Yeah, the first note. Yes. So then it doesn't have to be, but that makes it a little bit heavier, right? So beautiful. Here also, because of the hemiol that's written in, I think you can have even more sense of sort of I guess an eagerness to go to the next one. Really, it's much more bounced up than feeling for each one of those. Try that once. I love that. That's a huge difference. I mean, it's a small thing, but feeling where the rhythmic pulse is and expressing that. putting that out there in expression. So if you think that's what's written, but it had much more fun about it. I think in general you can have more fun now and release notes and release gestures. Okay, good. I think there was something in the chat about moving on for time. So did you have any other questions, Alex, about what we talked about or anything in particular?
I think I'm okay with questions. This is really helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for playing. Well done.
Great. Thank you, Alex. Now it's Skye. Skye, are you here? There she is. Okay, great.
Hi, Skye.
Hi. It's good to see you again.
It's incredible, Skye. I think I've heard from time to time since you were 13 or some 12,
Yeah, I think
13.
so.
It's amazing how time flies.
I know. So today I'll be playing the first movement of Devorjack Concerto.
Okay, how much would you like to play? Because it's quite long, isn't it?
It is. You can cut me off whenever you feel you
Okay,
have enough to
okay,
work with. Yeah.
okay, sounds good.
violinist.
That's great. That's great. Why don't we?
I'm struggling so much. I'm so sorry.
What are you struggling with, Skye?
Oh, just technically with most of it.
Really? Because that sounds so crystal clear, everything. So, when you say struggling, are you feeling tight? Are you feeling like, because we heard all the notes where they're all there. So talk to me.
Definitely tightness. My practice has not been, I haven't had as much time as I've wanted to. And I've kind of been like trying to rehabilitate my bow arm mostly, and then also my left hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, things just aren't as smooth as they used to be.
Right. Okay. Can you share quickly what you're trying to change about your hands?
So with my right arm, mostly I found that I tend to lock it a lot in this position instead of releasing. So I've been experiencing a lot of fatigue in my right arm just from that. That's an old habit that I used to have under control that has, come back. And then, left hand is just confidence level.
Okay. And then you said tightness as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Good. I wouldn't have noticed that, but when you get to a high note and say that is a sign that you're experiencing something. Okay. Let's talk about this. So this is one of the hardest concertos out there, I have to say. I've always thought so. Because it's supposed to sound so fluid and so singing and so folk-like, and but then it's really a bear with all the different rhythms that he asks, and then all the shifts that he asks, and they're not sort of classical patterns that we naturally practice, right? From etudes and everything. There's something about Devorjack, the key and the way that it lies. Although, if I remember correctly, I think he worked on this for quite a few years with Joachim to make it a little bit more palatable for the violin. So even after all that work, Dvorak's concerto is a bear. It's really a bear. So could we start from just the standpoint of what are you enjoying about this piece, regardless of all the technical hurdles and everything?
It's actually really fun. Like, once I get all the technique under control, it should be really fun to play, especially with accompaniment, because there's a lot of back and forth and like almost a little bit of like sibling fighting kind of feel. Yeah, but I just really love all the lyrical lines. It's really gorgeous. I'm just not doing it justice right now.
Okay, good. So I thought it was interesting that you said, once I get the technique under control, then I can let it. So I think in this piece especially, the technique is going to be molded to the phrasing. So it's not that you're going to work out a passage slowly and work out exactly the way that your fingers are going to lie, and then expect that it's going to sing through or fly or fluidly sing through the line. Okay, it's I think you have to work that in at the same time in this concerto, especially. Okay, so let's start with something a little bit, just it's kind of rote to start at the beginning, but can we just address something in this? One aspect that makes it so natural is all these descending lines. Da, 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 dee. Right? And the most amazing descending line comes before the recapitulation, when you have before C, you have the E trill and then a lower E trill, but the orchestra dee, da, 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 da. So you kind of fall in to C, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that you could feel that in a different way, a much larger sense of this line falling through in your phrasing. And so let's work on the very first one first, and then we'll go to that one right there. So could you sing that for me, that descending line?
Very beginning.
Nice. You can hit the G sharp. That's great. So now let's add a little gesture. You were starting to use your arms, which I liked very much. So it's the fourth beat. Right, so take a deep breath so you have that whole first part of the bar holding you, and then da, 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 that's the point from which you fall. Try once more. Yes, great, great. So now I didn't hear bar lines, which is perfect. Just the beginning of it, catching da da dee da da dee, to hear the G sharp. Yes, we heard. Ta. Now, would you play just those lines? First position, A string, one bow. Just those notes. Okay, so in one bow, so don't take the da 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 da, okay, and then don't do the turn too, just the scale, just the bare outlines of this gesture. Good. If you wanted to take on the G sharp, you're right. Okay. Maybe the G sharp needs one. That was so beautiful. Would you do it once more? Take another deep breath. Yeah, as naturally as you can, feeling that coming down. Nice. Beautiful. Beautiful. And try up bow too. Let's try it up bow. Try to feel that same thing, but still in the opposite bow. I felt at the bottom of your up bow that you have to just keep going. Da, da, da. Keep that motion going, as if you were just following a circle all the way to the bottom of the circle for the G sharp. Try that. Yes. And now, without losing, that is the connection between your notes here, playing the rhythm, and well, let's keep it still in first position. I think you went down the D string before, right? Yeah, so let's keep it first position still. Da, da, ya, da, 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 ti. Yes.
Okay.
There's something that happens right here. Can you just let the sound go? You know, can you move the violin with the bow? And then the turnaround is very circular. It's very fluid to the G sharp. Yes. There's a different sensation. You wanted to go this way, but then you changed and you went with it. Once more. Yes, good, good. And now to the D string, same one bow. Try to feel, even though the D string is a little more uncomfortable, feeling that your fingers are you're just following this arc down as naturally as possible. So beautiful. That was really beautiful. That was the most natural sounding one so far. And then you do D string for your actual, or you don't?
I don't. I start on the E.
Oh, do you do the fingering that you do?
Okay.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing. Yeah, that little bit of making each of these gestures a feeling that is naturally in our bodies, naturally happening through gravity. Good. Very good. Now did you try the bowing that's written and try to keep that line?
Okay.
What did you feel?
It still feels a little disconnected.
Yeah.
I'm definitely bunching it by the bowing, yeah.
Yeah. So the fluidity in between the notes, as if you don't know that you have ups and downs going. You're just focusing on that cascading line. Once more. Yes. And then did you notice how your left hand fingers are also phrasing that descending line?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Try to feel that you're that the weight of your fingers is getting more towards the bottom. From the top, you're at the top of the hill. And then the G sharp gets the most weight of the fingers. Try that. Yes, that is fantastic. Yes, that's it. That's it. So, do you see how technically we all know how to play downward scales, but technically we're adjusting what you're doing with your fingers and your bow to go with the phrasing. Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean by those things have to be sort of be concurrent in your progress with this concerto. Very good. Why don't you play the opening line to put it together? Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so a couple things just in this. Ya, ya da da da, ya da da da. This upbeat is really reaching for the next downbeat, right? Ya da da ti, ya da da ti, da da da. Pa pa pa. You're sort of mimicking this fanfare like opening of the orchestra. Ta ya, ya da da ti. That's on one plane. That's rhythmic, and then you have this melodic da 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 ti da. So could that have two different aspects, two different colors, two different focuses? Right there? Try that. Yeah. How was that?
It feels good.
Yeah, good. And so when you did ya-da-da-da, hopefully you felt those are thirds, but you felt much lighter in the left hand and the bow because you're really leaning towards the main note. Okay, so that's another way that you don't have to hold on to notes. Realizing where you're going, realizing which notes are lighter, which notes are more enjoyable, and which notes are you want to bring out as harmonic posts, I think is really important in this. Right at the end, it's quite a big yada-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I can't really hear the difference between your 16ths and then your triplets and then your eighths. This retard is written out. I wish it had a sense of you don't actually want to slow down, but you're being made to. You're still going up. You know, you could just keep going ya-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But no, he's saying the drama is da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dee-ta-ti. Okay, so could you use the rhythm to really put the brakes on and then set your hand as you did for the last note. It'll make the last note easier, actually. Okay? Just start somewhere in the run. Good. Can you add a little bit more fluidity, a little bit more accelerando as you go up? As if you're so excited to reach the top.
Okay.
Exactly. Now I felt you were expressing through the rhythm the feel of the line. You can't slow down unless you go forward.
Okay, yeah.
And hopefully your fingers too, as you went up. Light. But then as you put the brakes on, you literally put the brakes on in your left hand. Okay? Okay, so I know we're running out of time, and 30 minutes is really, really, really quick. Goes by so quickly. There were so many places that I wanted to go over with you, but let's try C, going into C. Okay. So tell me, when you come out of your little cadenza, what does the orchestra start to have?
Bum bum. Da, 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 da. Wait.
Close. It's the other one.
Okay.
It's one of the melodies, right? Two, yada-da-dum, two, yada-da, and then 4 bars before C, ya, da, ba, ba, da, dee, da, da, ta. They're really going to a point that's 2 bars before C, okay? So make sure 4 before C that for 2 bars you're really running through this harmonic progression. Bum, 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 pa, to 2 before C. From that point, it's another 2 bars, but much more legato in the orchestra, a descending line. Okay, da 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 dee, da. Okay, so why don't you start somewhere in that little tiny cadenza that you have. Da, 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 da. Aha, good. Good. So once you get to yada da da yada da 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 dum, that's very rhythmic. 1, 2, 3, yada da. 1, 2, 3, yada da dum. So yada da 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 ba 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 ba. Really expressing the upright character of this rhythm there. Once you get to you can make much more of a line to help the orchestra go through that, okay? I think I would love to hear this diminuendo marking before C as across the 2 bars. So you're actually making a diminuendo into C. So I think much more sound would be nice. Maybe it's a mezzo piano, not a piano. And then a real warmth at C. Would you try that once more? Mm-hmm. That's the idea, and it's you have to sort of use your imagination because we don't have a piano right now with us. But when you play it with piano, you'll really feel that through. That was great. That's the direction. Okay, really good. I think you can have much more fun with this. You know, yum ba da 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 yum ba da 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 yum ba da 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 yum. Can you be much lighter on the small notes and really bring out the yum bum bum bum? You know where I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Yum ba da 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 yum ba da 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 yum. Can you play just the main notes, not the repeated notes? Nice. Yes. Those are the ones that need to spark and be enjoyed. And everything inside much lighter with the left hand. It's a way of getting to those notes. Try that right there. Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah.
Yum. Yum. Can you fluidly jump? Yum. Take a little bit of time to do that, but make sure that the jump is not this, but graceful.
Okay.
Try that. Yeah, did you hear the difference in your sound on those notes?
Yes.
Absolutely, that's it, and it should be easier on the left hand too.
Mm-hmm.
Then, okay?
Yeah, it does.
Good. Was there anything else that you know, when you get to D, this really, really long line, I just wanted you to make sure that you're really feeling that harmony change at D. That's sort of the midpoint of this really, really long line that's again cascading down before it turns around to come back. Yada da 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 da. Comes back after D, right? So the real harmonic turning point is D. Yada yada da 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 da. And that's going to help you make that turn in this long phrase. That one is really epic, the length of that phrase. Good. I hope that gives you a few things to chew on and think about as you work on this, Skye. Great to hear you. Thank you for playing.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you to both of our performers, Alex and Skye. Now we're going to be moving into a session on Aikido, which Ayano will lead us in. So
Great. So, how many of you know what Aikido is? Have you tried it even? a little bit. So Aikido is a Japanese martial art, but quite recently developed, actually. And it came out of the techniques of Jiu-Jitsu and Judo. And it was so random how I fell into it in New York City when I was living there about 20 years ago. But randomly, I was looking at dojos and there was one that was close by, and so I just started doing it. And it has really taught me a lot about the way that I use my body efficiently and feeling a sense of power that's not strength. So you can't tell, but I'm very short. I'm 5 feet, maybe 5'1" on a good day. So and I'm practicing against these 200-pound guys who are 6'4" and huge muscular guys. But the techniques are supposed to work. In an ideal world, if you do them correctly, I can throw those big guys as easily as they can throw each other. So it's taught me a lot about how to use my body efficiently, how to use much more circular motions in the way that I approach the instrument rather than angular, not straight up and down, but actually much more graceful, using momentum of my body, feeling the center, the hara, the center of my body as the point from which to move. Even in playing the violin, that things that all originate from there. So I thought, since there was a little talk of how Skye and Alex are feeling some tightness and maybe they didn't have enough time to warm up, which we all run into, I thought I'd try a few warm-up exercises with you, and then we can go into questions. Okay. All right. So let me see. Let me pull up abbreviated version of what I usually go through. Let's see. So this is not having to do with Aikido necessarily, but I like to do this. It's sort of a chi tapping exercise where you just tap your body all over. Actually, Natasha Brofsky, the cellist who used to teach at NDC, taught me this. She came in late before a trio concert we were about to play, and she lived an hour away from Jordan Hall and about to go on, and she said, "Oh no, just give me a second. I'm gonna warm up." And she started hitting herself all over, and I asked her what she was doing, and it's really to get the blood flowing throughout. But it's also helpful because after you do that, you feel this tingling sensation in your hands, and you want to have that kind of sensitivity and vibration happening in the hands as you go on stage. That's what you want to feel. What you don't want to feel is, okay, I've got this, my muscles are ready, I'm gonna go give it my all. You want this to be your state before you play the violin or go on stage. Okay, so that's one of the first things that I do. And then I'm just gonna move this over. I don't know if you guys want to try these with me. I know you're not on video, most of you, but a sense of knowing where that center is, about 2 inches below your navel, and then moving from there. So let's try arm circles, for example, doing that. And trying to move from that center moves you. So you're in a sense, your arms are not moving, but that center moves first. I don't know if you can see. That center moves first and then the arms. You see that delay, right? So really feeling that center. And then that allows also flexibility in the feet as you go. Another thing I like to do is big arm circles. I just hit a lamp. So in doing big arm circles, if you pay attention, are your knees stiff? Are your feet attached to the ground? Are you sort of going through the motions like this? See the difference? I'm just moving my arms, but so my knees are reacting to the weight of my arms going around that circle. And this is not unlike what I was talking to Skye about in terms of really feeling the phrases, feeling the gravitational pull of beats. Beats have to go up before they come back down. Beats are not just this going up and down, right? They okay, so that's a feeling that I really love to get in, and you can do it backwards too. So this feels quite funny, trying this in front of a whole bunch of black boxes, but okay, we're doing our best here. Okay, in terms of finding that center again, leaning forward. Oh, hi! Leaning forward and hanging with your arms down and your neck and shaking everything out, and then mentally putting your focus on that center, and as you come up, seeing if you can align the rest of your body from that center point. So I'll try it now. I'm gonna bend over and shake everything out. My knees are unlocked, my neck is loose. Mentally, I'm finding that center point in my body, and as I come up, my head comes up last, but I'm stacking above that midpoint. That should feel really different from actually where you were just a second ago. I feel different. I feel like I've stacked differently. And then the same thing with backward bends. Mentally find your midpoint, and then stack your body up from there as you come back up. I'm probably 5'1" now. Because I've done that. Yeah, good. That's where we want to come to with playing, right? And then the last thing, there are a couple other things I do, but the last thing that I want to share with you is just this idea of standing there and shaking the hands out. So as if you had water on your hands and you're just shaking them out. And so if you do it correctly, your heels will bounce up. It's a bouncy feeling. Yeah. There you go. Someone else joining us. And then if you stand still for a second, you just feel just incredible vibration in your hands, all the way through your shoulders and actually through your feet if you do it correctly. And then you can do it again. And then stop. Yeah, so that's really the state from which I like to approach then practicing, playing, performing, so that you're vibrating. That vibration should follow you into that sensitivity, into following the vibration of the string, the vibration of the bow pulling the string. Okay, and hopefully that opens up your chest and your neck and your jaws and everything. All right, so that's a tiny little intro to Aikido.
Thank you so much. I feel like we would be super interested in having something like this in person. Hope maybe next semester when we're
I'd love that.
Could actually do this with you in person.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So we have like about a little less than 10 minutes left, so we're going to move into Q&A. So if anyone in the room has any questions, please feel free to just unmute yourself and speak, or if you feel more comfortable raising your hand, then I can like acknowledge you, or you can also put questions in the chat. Yeah, and
I recently learned that you can actually raise your hand. There's something that you can. I didn't know that. It's incredible what they come up with. So you have to put your hand on the key to actually do that, but you don't actually have to raise your own hand.
no.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sorry.
please go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Okay, quick question. As a fellow 5 foot tall individual, I was wondering if you've ever had to use, or you've ever been able to use Aikido in like real life. I guess in an unsafe situation, although hopefully you have not been in an unsafe situation, but I am curious.
A good question. I have not, thankfully. But I will say that we spend so much time reading people's body movements, and we keep a safe distance between the attacker and us. So we don't actually, we have to attack each other so that we can practice the defensive techniques, but it's purely defensive, Aikido itself. And so we're constantly, did that person do that? Is that person, where are they situated in space? There's so much in terms of being able to read the situation that I feel that most Aikidoka, practitioners of Aikido, are very aware of how other people are using their bodies and will walk away from any kind of confrontation. We don't want confrontation. Yeah, so I would say that in that sense I have used it, but not the actual defensive techniques against an attacker. My husband has a funny story. It wasn't an attack, but he was walking in the streets of New York, and he had one of those asymmetrical hoodies on, and so the pockets were also sort of asymmetrical somehow, he says. And so he's walking along, and something catches his eye, and so he turns, but he also steps at the same moment into a pothole about this deep, and he's a big guy. He's 6'2", and he falls, and we do a lot of rolling techniques, so he's not able to get his hands out in time, but he rolls out, ends up on his feet, and looks around, nobody has noticed, and keeps going. So actually there's some, he was able to save himself from a very bad fall, and the reflexes were trained to react in the moment. Yeah.
Aikido can be used for playing your instrument and falling into potholes.
Right, exactly.
Understood.
Anybody else?
Okay, Kaide?
Yes. Hi, thank you so much for this wonderful masterclass and for
Sure.
joining us today. I was just wondering, so since quarantine has started and musicians have been kind of forced to remain in their houses and practice by themselves, not really able to give like in-person concerts or anything, how have you found motivation, or like how have you made your practice fun or like interesting in a way that helps to maintain your motivation? Yeah.
That's a really good question. To be really honest, it has been up and down for me. I'm so used to having performances lined up as the motivation. Oh, I get to play this quintet. Great, I can work on it. Oh, I have this other concert. Oh, great, So it has been up and down. I think my teaching has really been a motivating factor, because I firmly believe that if you can't actually prove and demonstrate the things that you're teaching, then you're not actually being authentic in what you're sharing. So I want my students to work hard, and I'm constantly sharing with them new ideas and epiphanies that I have in my own practice, as I work on. And so it's been nice actually to have a little downtime to parse things out and figure out what exactly is happening here. You know, why does that shift not quite work? How can I change that, and to become more aware of that, and then to go and share that. I think personally, we have a small apartment here, and I haven't gone the route of recording and putting out online anything. I think the internet's it's a little saturated with a lot of people doing that. So I also haven't found that I don't have a burning desire to share something in that medium. So there's the teaching aspect, and then I've been experimenting much more with my Baroque bow, which I usually don't have very much time for. So going through the Bach sonatas and partitas and working on that, discovering new things, articulations, bowings. I would say for me, one of the things that has helped me is definitely reading books and about the violin and about physical movement, and sort of taking the time to do things that I don't normally have time for, that inform what I do on the violin, but also when I practice writing things down. So saying, okay, I figured out 3 different ways to finger this passage, rather than leaving it in my mind as, okay, but writing them all down, and writing all the different ways that I've changed the bowings in one movement of Bach over the last month has really allowed me to see that I am making progress, that I am getting somewhere, that it's not this amorphous, I am changing, I'm experimenting. But so I've found that very helpful for myself in my practice. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So I have a question. I know that you did your undergrad here at Harvard. So what are your fondest memories at Harvard? And do you have any advice for students who are like still trying to keep up with their instruments and music while pursuing academic careers or professional careers?
Yeah, that's a tough time. I remember it being a bit of a struggle keeping my playing up while trying to take advantage of everything that's at Harvard that's available. I think one of my richest experiences was taking every single one of Robert Levin's courses. So he taught back then, and every single performance practice course, going to his house and seeing his 7 pianos and coaching with him there, taking music 180. It was 180 before, almost every single semester. That was the most enriching part of going there, I felt, and then meeting everybody in the courses. I mean, I'm still in touch with so many of the people that I met through the music department, even if they're not, performing musicians now, and they have other professions. They're still incredibly devoted to music. And what advice would I give? If I were to do it again, I would allow myself to be less stressed about getting enough practice hours in every day. Really, when I was there, I think the practice rooms closed at 5 or something, and they opened at 9, so there was hardly any time. So I was just running between classes to get over to the music building and get in. By the time I graduated, they had extended it to about 9 p.m. and trying to practice before classes at 6 or 6:30, and I was in Canada, so I was in the I don't know if they still have it, but the recycling trash room down there with like a big blower going. It was, somewhat sound insulating, and I was able to get in an hour or two before classes, and it was crazy. And I don't think I needed to be that crazy, actually. I have to say, in hindsight. So I would say enjoy your time. Take courses that you wouldn't necessarily take. I unfortunately approached a lot of Harvard sort of as an extension of high school. I wish I'd taken a year off. I wish I'd known about that there was so much more out there. I would do it again in a heartbeat if I could. Really, yeah. And that's not to diminish what I did there. I loved everything that I took, but I wish I could have done more. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you everyone for coming and sticking around for this segment. And I hope everyone has a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.